I often find myself with the fear about what other people think. And it is really a debilitating fear that is limiting myself in the things that I can do, that I can achieve, everything around me for the most part. I fear what other people think about my clothing, my hairstyle, my video making, my work. I fear that others will judge me for how I express myself. There's so many things that are outside of our control, and one of those things is what other people think. I heard a lot of very interesting thoughts about this topic over the years, one of which was, I don't really know what you are thinking about me because I only know what I think you think. And then it becomes I think you think that I am this. That makes no sense because I don't really know anything at that point. And there's a couple of quotes that I want to kind of like reflect on or think about today. One of which, or the first one, is by David Foster Wallace. And it's basically going like this. You will become way less concerned with what people think of you when you realize how seldom they do. Now, this is way easier said than done, at least in my opinion. It's not something that I want to concern myself with. However, it comes up again and again, and it's not easy to really step away from what other people think about me. And yet, this is a good reminder that most people don't really think that much about you. And they are probably concerned with a lot of things about themselves rather. And more often, it's even worse, more often whatever they criticize on you, they probably just criticize because they want it for themselves, because they're jealous of some sort, because you have something that they don't. And that makes even less sense to take on that criticism. It's probably just a really bad way of expressing some kind of envy toward you when they criticize you in a harsh way. So that's one thing that I come to think about in this sense of fearing what others think. Another one, kind of like call to action that I read recently was on the blog from ProBlogger, and it said, just stop reading minds. And it comes back to the first thing that I mentioned here in this video. I think that you think that I think. Like, how is that working? I can't read your mind unless you really tell me something. And then again, I should really make sure if I really want to know your opinion, if you are on my list of people that I care about, because you may or may not have the qualifications to actually judge me. And I may or may not care whether or not you are offended by what I say, or if you think that I'm wrong or something like that. And I think that there's a really good point for being open for criticism, but if I already fear criticism before I have done something, it's going to just limit what I can or cannot do. And I'm not going to continue on that train, continue being limited by something that I don't even know yet, an experience that hasn't even started. So that's the second one. And the third one is from Seneca. And it's from the Stoic philosophy. And it's a philosophy that I've come in contact with a couple of years ago and now have been reading more about. I'm not nowhere near a history buff that knows everything about Stoicism. But I come to realize that it probably is really helpful to at least adventure in those ideas. And the one idea from Seneca in this realm of fearing what others think is the point that he says, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And I know that this quote continues a little longer, but even this just is enough, because it's saying that I am, like, in my own personal experience here, I am suffering because I fear that someone might have something bad to say on a YouTube comment. I may actually not create the video in the first place because I fear the comments that may be negative. Now, granted, I don't have any comments at that point. I don't know if anyone ever will comment anything. And who says that it's going to be negative? So I make up this huge dragon of negativity before I even have started. I started thinking about why is this happening? Why am I experiencing this so negatively? And I found that a lot of it has to do with the idea that my whole life situation, I am not quite able to be as positive as I would like to be. And I have no real idea of where that comes from. Part of it probably comes from this aspect of what I talked about in the last podcast, that my goals that I set for myself, I wasn't really able to achieve those. Then again, it's a chicken egg thing that maybe I didn't achieve them because I wasn't positive enough. So it's a kind of like a circle game here. And often I come back to the quote that I just said is we suffer more in imagination than in reality. I suffer before I know what other people actually think of something. I suffer before I actually did something wrong. Maybe building a business, you can also suffer before you actually have done anything. So this year that's coming up, 2020, I want to rid myself of the fear of what others think. I want to put myself into a new state of mind, a sort of shameless state of mind, and create what I want to create, build what I want to build, and do so without these restrictions. And I know that I won't be perfect because I will have the same kinds of feelings come up again and again. And it's not easy to ever be perfect in this regard, and just stepping away from everything and recognizing that it's not real or that it's just in my imagination. But this can be done, and I would love to support you on that journey. If you have anything to share, please leave those thoughts in the comments below. I want to keep moving forward with this creation. I want to share more that I have held back in the last years. I want to be transparent and open. I don't want to fear what others think, and I want to give myself some positive reaffirmation that there are good people out there, and know that we can support each other on this journey. Know that there's a place for good, so to say, and send something out there, send a vibration into the universe, so to say, that can be magnified and reflected. Let's be more positive with each other. Let's not share all the negativity that's already out there. Let's move forward with gratitude, like journaling in the gratitude journal that you probably have or don't, but should start. And yeah, making the next step without the fear of what other people think. Make it your life, and don't let yourself be controlled by others. Until the next one, ciao ciao.